Hey guys, Loyal Logic coming at you with another video. First, I want to apologize. Sorry I've been away from YouTube, you guys. I've just enjoyed Twitch, and there's a great community over there. Lots of creators I've met, interact with, and I encourage you to go and follow me over there if you guys are interested. I'm going to try to be posting a lot more here. I have a good friend helping me out, Will. Great guy. I want to start off this conversation by saying what happened to George Floyd is disgusting, and you you can't defend it. No one's defending it, too. Nobody. 99% of people, 99.9% of people agree what happened to him was wrong. I mean, that guy was a kind guy, a gentle giant. I mean, yeah, did he have drugs on him? So what? Who cares? I don't want people going to jail for drugs. Never have, never will. Did he pass a forged 20? Yeah, who cares? I mean, it's unexcusable. That there's nothing that guy could have done that day other than hurting or killing somebody that would warrant that type of behavior of the cops. And even then, I would still question it, because they're supposed to be professionals. But this isn't about George Floyd anymore. What's going on? This isn't about George Floyd. If it was about George Floyd, then people would have united behind the cause of police brutality and reforming and changing the police. But no one wants to do that. They'd rather sit there and grandstand and get woke points. And I mean, I saw even a girl post a video recording her father saying things. And she had to be like 12, 13 years old, she was. And it's like Orwellian. It's like, you understand the ramifications of what you're doing. And there's families being torn apart. I mean, I've even lost friends over this, and nothing I've said has been unreasonable. I just don't want the riots to go on because that's not what George Floyd would want. I even had one person say before the videos came out, of course they pulled back after that, saying, well, did you know him? No, I don't need to know somebody to know that they wouldn't want their country and their community burned down. I don't need to know. I think 99% of people in this country don't want to see the community burn down. But that 0.1%, the 1 out of 1,000, is making a lot of noise on social media and throughout media in general. It's not about George Floyd. Nobody's coming up with solutions. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about solutions. So we can end the police brutality. So we can reform the police state. So this doesn't ever happen again. We need to have a national standard in this country for the police. A national standard. That doesn't mean the police are controlled by the federal government. It's a national standard. Regionally, they can do different things, but they all have to abide by this. Number one, every police officer in every department in the country has to get a mental evaluation every 3 months. Doesn't matter how much seniority you have, how many years, if you're the chief, or you're just a petty officer. Everybody has to get it, and they can do it whenever they want, but they have to get it every quarter, once a quarter. And that really frees people up to feel more comfortable about talking about issues. They feel decompressed, and they can say, listen, I need to, it opens up a lot of channels to where officers can, if they're stressed about something, they don't feel like they have to bottle inside. Another thing we need to do as well, we need to have PT test every 30 days. It shouldn't take 4 people to subdue somebody. Now, unless it's like Hulk Hogan, like I understand that. But I get it. Most people do. Maybe 2 people even. I get that. But when it's 4, it's ridiculous. And that just shows that you're out of shape and you shouldn't be out on the streets. And if you fail the PT test, you go on desk duty until you get back into shape. And if you don't after a certain amount of time, you're fired. You shouldn't be a police officer. You don't get to be a police officer just because you pass one physical exam, you pass the test, and for the rest of your life you can be a fat slob or out of shape. It doesn't work that way. You should know the job you're signing up for. You're dealing with people. Sometimes it's going to get hectic and physical, and you should be able to control your own body and control the perp. And it's obvious that we're having a big problem throughout the country with obesity on the rise and people being unhealthy, of these cops thinking, hey, I can do whatever I want and no one's going to call me out for it. Well, I'm calling you out, and you guys are out of shape and you need to get your shit together. And with this national standard, you're going to have to. You have no choice. So now you could do it every quarter, but I prefer every month. We need to make sure our police officers throughout the country are tip top. There can maybe be regional exemptions to where it's a small city of 100 people. Okay. But other than that, I just, no exemptions. Like, it just is what it is. You should not be out there if you are not physically able to take down a perp by yourself, again, unless there's some circumstances, like the guy has a weapon or something. I mean, again, finer details. Another thing we need to have nationally to every department is the Spider-Man gun. I want people to go look up the Spider-Man gun after we're done here. All it does is when you shoot it, it shoots a little mini rope that's very strong around whatever. It shoots around your body, around your feet, whatever. This will make it to where the only, you can subdue them, you get them down the ground, but also to where you're not going to have to restrain someone like George Floyd with your knee on their fucking neck. It's ridiculous. And the fact that no one's talking about this solution or this technology, I mean, my best friend, IRL, was the one that mentioned it. And he's like, Loyal, did you see this? And I said, that's great. I said, we need that in every department. Every department needs that. Another thing we need is to make the police academy longer. Again, this is a national standard, but you need to make it longer. Now, it's a damn shame in this country that it takes you longer to be a carpenter than it does a police officer. I mean, I don't understand how people think that's okay, or it is what it is, but that's not okay. I am watching a lot of other people talk about it, and they're not even bringing that up. I think one person did, Larry Lawton. You can go look him up. He's one of the biggest jewel thieves there ever was in the United States. Obviously, he's out now and reformed. But no one else is talking about it. Again, a lot of people, folks, I'm going to pause for a second, but a lot of people are doing a lot of talk. A lot of talk. And the reason I know this isn't about George Floyd anymore, because none of the substance that they're giving, nothing, has to do with real solutions. They're talking about the problems. And then even if they talk about a solution, the solution's so fucking grandioso. It's so grandioso, like abolishing the police, firing these these things that are not going to happen, that we're just going to go back to the same fucking problems. Everything I just said to you, everything can be done. Everything. Nothing that and I'm sorry to say it, I'm sorry. It is a 99.9% of leftists and far leftists. Twitch, YouTube, they're talking out of their ass. This is all political for them. This is not a political issue. A human life shouldn't be made into a political issue when it was like that. 99% of people agreed. Republicans, Democrats, everybody. Socialists, communists, everybody agreed. What happened to George Floyd was disgusting. So how the fuck did we get divided? Well, it's because you had riots going on. And then when people come out against the riots, they're acting like they're against the protesting. What the fuck are you talking about? You can be against the rioting and for the peaceful protesting. Hello? What the fuck are people talking about? And I'm sorry about my language, but I don't know what the fuck people are talking about. It's simple. I mean, you have one celebrity, I believe he's an athlete. He said, yeah, you go and do what you're going to do, riot, burn down. And then guess what happened? They came to his suburban neighborhood. Then he started crying on Twitter. Because it's easy for all these people on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter to be talking a gang of shit until it comes to your front door. I mean, a lot of people are starting to open their eyes. I mean, a lot of people. Because there's a lot of people out there that have their businesses burned down, that were in support of Black Lives Matter, and they're not anymore. So you lost supporters to your movement. You lost supporters to your movement because they're just like, why are you burning down my business? I mean, people need to understand this too. Those communities are going to be in poverty for years because of this. If you care about communities that are impoverished, the last fucking thing you would want is their community to be burned. What do you think, that there's like some magic insurance fairy that everybody's got the same insurance? Even let's say that's even the case, you can't account for everything. I mean, it's like people are talking about insurance, but they've never had insurance a day in their fucking lives. I mean, it's not just a quick claim, hey, everything burnt, and I get to claim whatever I want. You get to write in $1 million ring. It doesn't work that way. You have to show proof. You have to really document it. Not all insurance covers riots. And then also, some people didn't have insurance. Mostly the black business owners, because they were working on small margins, because they were working to help build up their community. It's called fucking economics. These people were there to help out their community. They weren't there to be part of the woke class. They weren't there to be part of a movement. They just wanted to help out their fucking community. A lot of these people, what makes me upset is a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people, I want to say it's at least 85% of Americans don't give a shit about anything that's going on here. Because they have a family. They have to go to work. They don't have time to pay attention to this shit. They don't. It's not that they don't care. They just don't have time. And then when you go to work and it's burnt down, and then we're in a damn pandemic, you can't just go get another job. I mean, what do people think is going to happen? You're going to drive away people that would be supporters for your cause by doing this. I mean, if you don't believe me, folks, you don't believe you're driving away support, you just go on Twitter. You can see people throughout Minneapolis and through these cities posting that they are tired of this shit. I mean, what do you think? They're tired of just all the police brutality? No, because police didn't burn down their fucking building. Police didn't loot their building. When they see people holding signs against police brutality and then their whole building's looted, who do you think they're going to hate more? The looters or the police? Who ruined their life? Who cost them tens of thousands? I mean, there was one story that really hit me. Really nice guy, firefighter, saved up everything he could. Finally, his dream came. He opened up a sports bar, Scores. COVID happened. He had to put it on hold, but he stayed chipper. Everybody said, I looked into this, everybody said, you know what? He was really positive about what was happening. He said, we're going to come out strong. And then it got looted, got destroyed. And he's sitting there crying on video, knowing how he's going to recover. And looters came while they were there trying to steal his safe, the last thing he has. and you expect that guy to turn around and be okay with what's going on? How? I mean, it's just like in New York. All Fifth Avenue's destroyed, windows smashed out, places looted. How the fuck do you expect these people to support your cause? You understand where this goes, right? Either we change and we reform, or the police state rises. It's just the truth. I said this on Twitter. It's either we reform or change now, or the police state will rise. And you don't want that. Obviously, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. And then what is even worse is the military-industrial complex will come domestically. There's nothing we can do against that. People think, we'll just get the right fucking president in there and it'll be all, oopsie, get Joe Biden in there, it's all done. Do you really think all the country's problems come down to one guy? That's how I know a lot of these people are full of shit. Because it always circles around. Look at their Twitter strokes. It always circles around to fuck Republicans and fuck Trump. It always does. Even though a majority of the areas that this happened in was Democratic strongholds. So if this is happening in Democratic strongholds, how is it Republicans' fault? I don't know. I'm not saying Republicans, oh my God, even though I am one, I'm not saying Republicans, oh yeah. I've never been a bootlicker, but it seems like these people are licking the boot quite nicely. Mind waves, love you. But and it's no hate towards even a guy like him. But where's the solutions? The practical solutions that we can implement, that we can do now. Nobody's picking him up. Nobody. I was talking to, a lot of creators hit me up saying, hey, thank you, Loyal, for talking about this. We're scared to talk about it. I was talking to one creator, and he said, I can't believe not one representative is brought, just not one, has brought up any actual legislation that can do something. And then we were looking, and he found one. But it wasn't even enough. It wasn't addressing any of the main concerns. Nothing like I was talking about. Everything I'm talking about, everybody's agreed with. It's phenomenal. But people will disagree with what I'm saying because strictly I'm a Republican. That's how you know these people don't really give a shit. It's about politics, woke points, and winning the fucking argument and getting dunks. It doesn't matter. They don't care about solutions. They don't care about compromise or working with people to solve the complex issues in this country. They don't. They really don't care. And people think that, no, it's not like that. Then tell me somebody's putting up actual solutions. And not just like in the last day or two. Because I know some people are starting to, we need to yeah, maybe in the last couple of days. But during this whole last week, there was not one person talking about actual solutions. I was the only one I saw putting up any actual solutions. I went to several chats of people on the left to pit up my solutions, and not one of them disagreed with them. But guess what? They continued, they moved past it and went on arguing about bullshit because that they don't care. And it's almost like they don't even know that they don't care. That's a sad thing. And then it's hurting people. This is what's happening now. People are dead because of this. A man burned alive, still bodies not recovered. I mean, people are dead. More people. Think about this. And I find it very weird that people are not mentioning that. It's weird. People are dead, and no one's talking about it. Nobody. They're still talking about the peaceful protesters and what Trump said about the National Guard coming in. What did you expect was going to happen? I want to ask you, what did you expect was going to happen? Did you just think people were going to let that happen? Governors and city leaders were just going to let that happen? You have to be out of your fucking mind. People on the left love big government. What the fuck do you think big government's comprised of? The military-industrial complex has never been stronger. Never. It's the strongest it ever will be, and it will keep getting stronger. You think by putting someone else in there like Joe Biden there, he's gonna take away all military. No, it's gonna continue as is. He's just one spoke on the wheel, just like Trump. One spoke on the wheel. We created this problem by not addressing the actual problem. The actual problem is we have forgotten how to work with each other. You know, Mahatma Gandhi once said, because I'm a follower of his, an eye for eye makes the whole world blind. And we sure are blind to what's really going on here. But I have hope that we can see. You know, because Martin Luther King had a dream, folks. And he showed us the blueprints of what to do. And people might think that's bullshit, but it's not. He showed us the way. And it's like people don't want to look towards our great leaders we had in the past. Even Malcolm X got reformed in his later life, and he realized what he needed to do. And unfortunately, he was killed because of it. Because they understood if people listened to what Malcolm X was saying, that the whole movement that they were doing would be derailed. I mean, these were great men. And there's so many. You can go down the list of people who are fighting for civil liberties throughout the world. And I just really, I'm tired. I'm really tired. Because I've lost faith in a sense. Because even though I'm a Republican, I get along with lefties quite nicely. I do. I'm friends with a lot of people on the left. I mean, Pixie and me disagree on a lot, but we get along because we're friends, and we don't sit there and make our politics the determination of how much value we place on each other or anybody else. I just get confused, folks. I really do. I get confused how long we can keep doing this for. And this isn't new. It's again and again and again. We've been doing it for 25 years in this country. When I got into politics in 2003, we were doing the same thing. This is not new. This didn't just happen with Ferguson. By the way, Ferguson is not any better off after the riots they had. They're still recovering. So thinking like, they'll just rebuild and it'll be better. Who? You need people to come in and put up the capital to build and run and all that, and they're done. They will never rebuild in that part of Minneapolis ever again. And you have one woman sitting there crying, saying, all the places I go to are burnt, and the bus routes are canceled. What am I supposed to do? Because again, you're hitting impoverished areas. There's Section 8 housing that was burned. Well, there's one video of a girl saying, I got a call from my manager when I was heading home last night saying, hey, your place is on fire. Sorry. It had nothing to do with George Floyd. She had nothing to do. She was in his community. And George Floyd loved his community. It's so weird to me. This ain't about George Floyd. This isn't about police brutality, because if it was, people would be coming up with solutions, realistic solutions. Because I know that's what people will say when they're watching this. They will say, oh, no, we put up solutions. Where's your realistic solutions? You put up grandiose bullshit that would never get passed. It will never get done. I've had people say, like, end the fucking drug war. I don't know what the fuck that means. How about this? Just do what I've been saying, I've been advocating for online, especially when I've been on Twitch. I've been very consistent. Don't put people in fucking prison for using drugs. Get them help if they're a real addict. If you're just using drugs, go on your merry fucking way. That's a sentencing issue. And people are so fucking stupid they can't see that. We don't need to end the war on drugs to fix that fucking problem. Because that's the thing with people that are against the war on drugs. What they're really against is people going to prison for drugs. I am too. But you don't need to end the war on drugs. You don't need to end that war to stop pitting good people in prison. You're not a bad person because you use drugs. You might need some help, or you might not. I don't know. I don't do drugs. I mean, I love people. I want to help people. But it seems like a lot of other people want to help people. They say they do, but their words and actions show different. I mean, you had a lot of BLM supporters, which I appreciate, calling out people for doing the Blackout Tuesday and stuff. Because it's slacktivism. I was going slacktivism. It's slacktivism. It doesn't do anything. All this shit online doesn't do anything. All this chatter that people are doing is nothing. You have to have real world solutions. There was another content creator. I was really happy. She called out for what it is. It's not productive and it's not effective. She's on the left. She's a socialist libertarian. And she called this shit out. Because it's the truth. At some point, we actually have to stop. It's like King Bosch said. He said, at some point, we got to stop doing. It's the same thing we do every time this happens. Hashtags, pictures, we do commercials, corporate gets involved, they do all this, oh, we're with you, and then it fades away after a couple months. It's the same thing. When does that end? We don't need the corporations to come in and do all these hashtags. We don't need celebrities to prop up these hashtags. What we need to do is come together, talk about the solutions to the problems, get people to implement it. Again, Martin Luther King gave us the blueprint. All we have to do is do it. I told one content creator, I said, when's the last time we had a million man march in this country? When? I'm serious. When? A peaceful march. 100% peaceful for the right reasons. The only people that would go are people that are really, really in it for the cause. And I am. I'm in it. What's happening in this country is disgusting. The police should have been reformed a long time ago. But we keep letting the state tell us everything's okay when the house is on fire. Because it is. It's the state telling us okay. That's who's doing it. The people are the ones saying there's a problem. And now, yeah, you might have your allies saying there's not a problem, but there is. There's a problem. And we need to fix it. But we can't fix it if everybody's running with their head cut off like a bunch of chickens. We can't do it. We have to come together. It's not political, folks. It has nothing to do with right, left, center, anything. I'll talk to anybody. Everybody knows that about me. I'll talk to anybody. I'm friends with everybody. And we need more of that. We need more people putting aside their political differences, putting aside and saying, okay, let's talk about the problems, let's focus on the solutions, and let's see how we can get it implemented. And like I said, going back to what I originally started with, a national standard for the police, is what we need more now than ever. It's not that the federal government run your police department, folks. I want to stop you. You think loyal, that's more statism, that's more big government. No, it's just a standard. It's like the Bill of Rights. It's laying it out, and it's saying you have to abide by this, and you have to do it. And we're not dictating how you have to run your department. And then also, another thing I want to go back to it, because I said I was stopping. Now I know that was a long sidetrack. But another thing we need to do as well is we need to be able to fire bad cops. We need to fire them. We can't allow people to get away with having so much discipline, so many complaints. I mean, Minneapolis is a Democratic stronghold, and this guy still got away with it. So that should show you that it's not about left and right. It's about the system. So he should have been fired. So we need to get rid of that. It's the same thing I've been saying about government employees and teachers. If you do a bad job, you should be fired. I think we do need to implement a 3 strikes rule. So that would be something I would like to, we'd have to work on the details, but a strikes rule where it's legitimate. We can see there was a problem and you're fired. And I wonder why it's taken this long to bring up this conversation. Now, people will say, well, Loyal, what about someone that kills someone in line of duty? Most times, I would actually say 99% of times, you're taken off duty. You don't go right back on the street. Yeah, there's some cases where that happens, but so rare. I mean, you get an evaluation and everything. But I do believe that we need to understand, this is another change. When you kill someone in the line of duty, I think you have to be given off 30 days. So I think we need to institute that in the national standard. If you discharge your weapon and it kills somebody, you have to take 30 days off and also have a mental evaluation in that time. Make sure everything's good. So it's like automatic. Like, so yeah, you have one every quarter, but right when that happens, you get a mental evaluation. And also another thing we need to talk about is body cameras. So everybody always talked about body cameras and, we need to implement them. So we got a lot implemented. But the problem is now officers are turning them off. They're not, able to access in the public. We need to have a penalty. So nationwide, if you turn off your body camera, you get a financial penalty. After 3, you're gone. You're gone. There's no accidents. So it really does incentivize them, because you're going to be fucked if you don't do it. So you have to make sure it's on. After 3 times of not doing it, you are fired. There's no questions asked. You've shown that you're reckless, which is a form of recklessness, because how am I supposed to trust you in what you're doing if you're afraid to turn on your camera? Maybe we can do 5 strikes, but I think 3 strikes. I mean, because we need to drill into the police's head that this is something that you need to do. There's no reason for you to ever turn it off. It should always be on. Same with the car cameras. And then also that we need to have within the department, every department, we need to require them to be able for people to come in and access after 30 days. I'm going to give the police a little bit of time, full records of the police cams. So you can go into your local PD, ask for a copy, and they have to give it to you. I say 30 days because there's open investigations. You can't have it the next day. I mean, investigations happen. It just is what it is. You can't have evidence for an ongoing investigation. So I think 30 days is enough time, but we need to have more clarity. It's all about clarity, folks. So a lot of people will go, okay, I can see it. I can see what's going on. I can see what the officers say. It puts a lot of minds at ease. It won't for certain people, especially people that are watching this video. There's some people that it won't help. Now, here's the thing. I want to stop. At all the solution I just listed, nobody should argue with, but there are people that are going to disagree just because they didn't think about it. I'm a righty, and all this other stuff, and I'm not talking about this issue, that issue. But they can't argue at all how nothing. Then now maybe they'll be able to tweak it, critique it a little bit, but they can't argue the essence of what I'm talking about and the solutions I'm talking about would work. That's the problem that's going on. They are so ingrained to want to win, get the dunks, and be right that they have to critique somebody that they necessarily disagree with. So, but those are some things that we need to do, folks. Those are some things. I mean, I have a list. I mean, I could go on and on and on, and I might do a video about everything I've laid out and everything I've talked about over the years. I mean, again, folks, this has been going on for a long time, and no one cares. That's the thing. People think they care, but they just don't, because if they cared, we would have actually seen a real Million-Man March and people addressing these concerns on a big level and having a national standardization of the police to where all the police are on a standard. Everybody has these standards, universal standards, and that no police department is above or below it. You all have to abide by this. That doesn't mean you can't run it regionally, a little bit different, do your thing. But these standards are the fucking law of the land. And I would say that if you don't abide by these standards, another thing I will add, if a department is finding to not abide by these standards, the police chief will be removed forcibly by the FBI. I just think it become a Federal Bureau of Investigation thing. I believe the FBI can come in because, again, this would be federal. But it's in my opinion, it's hammer time. Hammer down. I mean, a lot of police departments throughout the country. Again, I'm sorry to say it, a lot of liberal strongholds had their chance. You had your leaders. You had Keith Ellison. He's the AG there in Minnesota. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, Keith Ellison. I mean, these are people that are very powerful in the Democratic Party, and these are the people champion on the other side. Now, there's people that are watching are going to be like, oh, no, I mean, I'm not a Democrat. It's like, okay, listen, we're in a two-party dictatorship, folks. If you're not a Republican, you're a Democrat, or you're in the center. Now, if you're in the center, just say so, and then, hey, guess what? You can complain all you want about how they're not representing your ideas. But the fact is I hate this bullshit. Oh, no, I'm a socialist. Okay, but who are you voting for? You're voting for Joe Biden. So that means to me you're a Democrat. I know where you stand. And the fact is a lot of people are not, nobody on the left is calling out these liberal strongholds. A couple people are, but unfortunately, if we don't do what I'm talking about, folks, again, there's I'll say it again, two options: either reform or change, or in the future, we're going to have a police state. And even worse at this point, we're going to have a military-industrial complex highly, highly ran in the domestic throughout the nation. It's going to be domestic. It's going to be commonplace. And here's the thing. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do. No one gets to vote on that. No state can block it. I'm sorry. You think that in your head. People thought in California, oh, Gavin Newsom's going to stop the National Guard. He didn't stop him because he knows he can't stop him. He knows that. They were right there in front of the Capitol. They were all throughout Sacramento and other cities. So please don't. The Democrats and Republicans will always agree with the military-industrial complex. Always. I don't care who it is, even Bernie Sanders. Okay? I'm sorry. And now people argue with that, but it is what it is. It's sad what's going on. All this of what I said honors George Floyd because he was a good man. And we should take his memory and not soil it with these riots, and it's disgusting. I mean, I can go on and on about the riots, but you people not condemning them, you're disgusting. I'm sorry. You acting like people were going after peaceful protesters like me, I never was. I always differentiated the two. Rioters and peaceful protesters. The peaceful protesters never got coverage on TV. They never did. There was some good, I posted some of the good protests that I saw, but there were so many videos about what else was going on. The good protesters never got a video or a tweet, and if you did, you had to dig for it, or hope that someone retweets it. And again, I follow a lot of people on the left, and there was very few people on the left retweeting the good protests because that's not what they care about. They care about their political angle, getting dunks and winning and looking good for the woke bucks, the woke points. That's what they care about. If they care about the issues, hopefully they agree with what I'm saying. I hope so. I hope that someone's watching. I hope, someone watches go, you know what, Loyal, you made some good points. I appreciate that. I disagree with this. But you know what? You made some good points. The undertone of what you were talking about was in good faith. You've always been consistent, caring and loving people. You love this country. And I do, folks. What happened to George Floyd should be condemned, and is condemned by 99.9% of people. His family should be honored by having real reform. We can even call it the Floyd Act, passing the national standardization of the police in the United States. We can do that very easily. We just have a million-man march, or we keep our rhetoric on point. Every day, we're talking about the solutions every day to the problems instead of talking about the problems every day. I love you guys. I hope to talk to you guys again soon. You guys are the best. I'm going to start making more YouTube videos. Definitely follow me on Twitch, you guys. I really do love you. Follow me on Twitter. Just honestly, you guys, please try to come together. Please. Just please, this one time. And do the right thing, because I'm telling you right now, if we don't, you're going to regret what's going to happen. And I'm losing hope every day that people are really not getting it. And from both sides, too. They're not getting what's happening. So, I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.